Good morning again. This is Dr. Bill Wyatt with the American Orthodontic Society, and I wanted to talk a little bit this morning about the Bionator versus the Mitchell Appliance. I don't know why I want to discuss that. The Mitchell Appliance is something really designed to take a Class 2 case and make it almost impossible for the person not to wear elastics, and it is a dead cinch unless they just literally do not wear the elastics at all. The Bionator is something you just can work with the person and bring their jaw out, but lining the teeth up is something that you just have to wait for nature to do that as the teeth come into the mouth. So let's get into this now. This is I think they've got alright, this is a patient using the Bionator. So we got a young man who's got a Class 2 malocclusion, and you can stick them in a Bionator and make it where the lower anterior teeth kind of come forward, and it kind of tilts the teeth out, and you can wear something like this, and it encourages them to bring their lower jaw forward, you see, out to this point right there, instead of the way they were. Let me get this arrow back again over here. And so here we just converted over to bands and brackets, and finished the case up, which wasn't difficult to do. We just used the Bionator for a little few months while we brought the jaw forward some, and so here it is. This is where it was before we used the Bionator, and we put the Bionator on, and it tilted the lower front teeth out and tilted the upper front teeth to some extent. And at that point, we just went into braces and did the finishing part of this. And so I didn't depend on the Bionator, so I'm not a good person. If you're interested in doing a lot of Bionator work, you should get somebody else to direct you in there. So we went back and bracketed the teeth and straightened everything out. And we did use one little trick I wanted to show you. If you got bands on your 6-year molars back here, which we do on most of ours, and the second molar comes in and it gets hung under the band right there and hung right here. And that prevents this molar from coming on in like it should. The very best way to deal with a situation like that is to take a thick rubber or a stretching plastic, and you can put it between the teeth right here. Just put it down in between the teeth and leave it there for a week, and it'll move those teeth back. And here it is after it's been in there about a week or so. This tooth is tilted back. Then we got a gap plenty big, and this will come in. And I've brought a lot of partially impacted teeth. You notice I took the bands off and through to get this to come in there and do that. So that's what we finished it without that being banded. And so now we'll just go ahead and finish the case up. We've got the bands on the 6-year molars up above, and we'll close the space, and we've closed up the space. Here is the separator now between the second and first molar, and it pushed that tooth and had a clear space between there. You can't already see this one. It's over on this side of the mouth. Now that works regardless of what kind of appliance you have. And you pull that out. Now that 6-year one will just, if you push it apart and it'll come up like that. If you have to use 2 of them, if it hits something up here, it'll level out. You don't have to grind it off or anything. So that's finished that one up on the Bionator. And now here I'm going to take a case that's quite a bit worse, and we're going to put the Mitchell Appliance in there, and I'll try to explain some of the mechanics behind that. I came up with this and named it after Dr. David Mitchell, who was head of the department in Atlanta for about 17 years, I think. And then he taught with me for several years after he kind of retired from the orthodontic office. Here we've got a, pardon me, we've got a case here that's class 2, got quite an overjet, but there's not that big of a class 2 problem in here, so we'll go ahead with that. And it looks like about 10 millimeter overjet there. The teeth are kind of pushed back on the lower and tilted forward on the upper. And so here I think we built this thing. We line the upper 4 teeth up here and come up and go back into the molar. And you put a little lock screw in here. You put a spring on the back of that lock screw, and you say you put 6 ounces of force on that. If you put 6 ounces of force back on this spring, it's 6 ounces this way and 6 ounces over here. You've got 12 ounces of force with pushing these 4 teeth forward. Now we come in and you put an elastic in here. If this was 6 ounces, we'll put an elastic that has only 5 ounces or something like that. At least a couple ounces there pushing this whole thing forward. And if you wear the elastics all the time, the whole thing will move forward. You will have 2 ounces, in other words, it's carrying the whole thing out to the front at the same time. And that works. And if the person leaves these elastics off down here, this 6 ounce here and 6 over here pushes entirely against 4 front teeth. And I've had people that wouldn't wear elastics and say, I take them out to eat and they chew and they go back. They remind them to put the elastics back. The teeth began to get sore up here. So they put the elastics back, and that kills most of the load coming out. You just got 2 ounces, total, coming, bringing it forward. And that's enough to bring it out. And the Mitchell Appliance, I've not yet put one in, and I didn't get it to bring the teeth out. In other words, you can just virtually make a person wear the elastics. If they don't, this total force of this spring right here will just shove these teeth out. In other words, you got 12 ounces of force pushing those 4 teeth forward. And if you monitor it and just wear about 5 ounces back on the sides, it'll hold it back. And that's the difference in the 2 appliances. There's no really similarity here where you can compare one to the other. The Mitchell Appliance, it works. There's no question about it. It will work. You can take a class 2 case and hook it up like that, and it will virtually always work. Now, if a person does it and they don't wear them, their teeth are going to stick out really bad in just a very short time. And here on the bottom, we have tongue thrust, so we, excuse me, we trim the cuspids and then pulpotomies and put these little fingers in here to allow the tongue to go up against that and break the tongue thrust problem, and we still have enough room to put the 3 teeth in here and have your 2 bicuspids, and you'll have enough room for your cuspid to come in there. So there's no comparison between this Mitchell Appliance and the Bionator. The Mitchell Appliance, it just works. It will virtually always work. And you can put it in and you can find out you can make somebody wear elastics that they just don't otherwise. And that'll bring those teeth right forward like that. So I'll go ahead through this. I thank you for watching. And if you want something that really encourages and almost makes the person wear the elastic, try this Mitchell Appliance. I have several other videos on it, and some of them more detailed than this one, giving you exactly what you do in the Mitchell Appliance. So here's this young man, and use the lip bumper down here on the bottom. I think we are helping to bring that out. So we're putting the lip bumper down there, and we stop the tongue thrust. Now you can see the 12-year molars coming in up here, and the molars are in there. And now the second molar coming up. Okay, here is the Mitchell Appliance. This is a spring that goes in there and pushes that around. But the Mitchell Appliance, go to some of these videos that are just on the Mitchell Appliance. It'll give you a much better deal on that. These are these teeth that have been sliced right there. Let me see if I can show them a little better. We took those cuspids down. This part of this Zecox, I need to know it doesn't bother you at all. When this goes, this will all come out of there, and that clears that problem up. That's good. So we'll go ahead, and I'm going to close out here and stop. So you'll say goodbye. I hope you'll join our group and subscribe to our channel. We'll say good. Hope to see